My name is Tom Cox, and I'm running for House District 17 against current incumbent Brett Hildebrand in the Republican primary August 2nd. I wish my opponent would have taken the time to show up here and talk to you with. I don't know how many of you have met him. I imagine very few. But I actually went to Shawnee Mission Northwest. This is, oddly enough, the second time I've given a political speech here, but the first one was for student government. So a little less exciting and a little more terrifying. I went to Benninghoven right across the street. I was just talking about with some people about how I remember when they put the first expansion on over there. I was in kindergarten, and now they're getting ready to build a second one, or just an entirely new building. My mom actually was the PTA president over there growing up. She was a full-time mom, and I don't use the term stay-at-home mom because she was a full-time mom. She wasn't staying at home very much. She was in our school almost every day helping us. She was at our events. She was engaged in every aspect. I mean, she made it a 100-hour-a-week job, which I could not be more thankful for. I know how powerful public education is because I consider myself a product of it. I went to Benninghoven, Trail Ridge, and Northwest, and then I went on to KU for undergrad and grad school. My entire academic career is public schools in Kansas. And so I want to make sure that we are fighting to protect them, that we are funding them, and that we are supporting them. And then I do support that we need to make sure we are being efficient and smart with our money, but that means the best investment we can make in our state is in our children, in our education system. And sadly, we are not having that right now. We are not having that debate. We're not even having a real conversation about what it takes to adequately fund schools. It's fund them more or don't fund them seems to be the conversation. And we're not looking at how do we make them as good as they can possibly be. Because I don't support adequate funding, I support the best funding we can possibly do for our schools so that we have the best community and the best state. So I appreciate you guys taking your time to be here.
How would you like to see the development of a school finance formula proceed in the next legislative session? What is the role of the legislature and the role of the State Board of Education in this process?
Thank you. Collaboration, coordination, bipartisanship. That's where we start finding a solution. One of the major problems, and I kind of touched on it right in my starting speech, is that people are not working together. People are not willing to work together. We are not having the serious conversation, the serious debate about how we solve our education funding problem at all right now. And that's what we need to change. And what I've realized is we can't change the minds of certain legislators like my opponent. We have to change them. We have to remove them from office and put in people who are willing to work together. I'm running as a Republican, but I say I'm a common sense Republican. I support good policy. I don't support parties. I support working together. I support how do I benefit my community, my constituents, and my state. And that always comes number one in any decision. So what we need to do is we need to start the conversation by getting legislators, representative from the governor's office, work with the State Board of Education, the local school boards, teachers. It is a collaborative effort. Not just one part of our group can figure out the answer to it. We all have to be a part of it because we all have different resources and experience and knowledge to know what the right solution is. So I will tell you right now that I want to be a part of that solution. I don't care who I have to work with to be a part of it. I'm going to sit down and say, what do you bring to the table? How can we help? But we have to be focused on what is the right long-term solution. And I think that's the most important part. How do we make sure that we're providing adequate and equal funding across the state? I want to make sure to take care of the Shawnee Mission School District because that's what I will represent and that's what's closest to my heart. But I at the same time do want to make sure that we are protecting all of schools in Kansas. So if we have one strong district and all the others are weak, it doesn't provide a strong state. And so you will see me up there working together with everyone, collaborating to find the right solution. And I think that's what we have to do.
25 states currently have medical cannabis laws. These protect patient rights to have safe access to all medical options their doctor recommends, and brings revenue for public education, public health, etc., and reduces prison and court costs. Where do you stand? House District 17.
I think this is an interesting and important question that our nation is currently facing. I don't know that I actually have a great answer for you. It's not one that I've truly studied or looked into, and I don't want to come here and just give you some whatever I think sounds best. It's something I would like to research more. I have seen in multiple states that there are medical benefits. The story that I've read most about is there was a little girl that suffered debilitating seizures. She couldn't speak, she couldn't anything, and nothing helped with her treatment. And finally, they actually found that pure concentrated THC oil grown from the hemp plant pretty much eliminated her seizures more than any medicine, therapy, surgery ever could. And so I do think it's an important conversation we need to have as a state. We do need to wash away the stigma that because something comes from the hemp plant, that it is necessarily bad. We need to engage in like, what are the benefits of it. But I also realize that, I don't know all the answers on this, so I will be very open to that conversation to figure out what the right solution is for Kansas and, what our constituents really want. But in
1 minute. What is the biggest difference between you and your opponents in the race that you are currently conducting? So 1 minute to answer that question. What is the biggest difference between you?
Donna kind of sold the great punchline there, but I'm here. It's true. We have a representative who has never once met with the city council of Shawnee or Lenexa, has never once met with the chamber, doesn't do legislative forums, wrap-ups, debates, doesn't attend local events. After a parade, he immediately leaves. He doesn't stay for the festivities. I will be there at all of that. The best part of this is being a representative, not a legislator. That's the part where you hit your head against the wall and you say, well, why did I do this again? The part is when you're a representative, when you get to engage in the community, you get to work with people, you get to find out what your voice is and take that to the beacon, not your own. That's the part I'm excited about. Additionally, I was born and raised here. I've lived in Shawnee for 30 years, minus a few when I moved to another state temporarily. My opponent, and when I speak to my opponent, I speak about the incumbent. He is not from here. He moved into this district 2 days before he filed to run. Now, I don't know how he afforded 2 apartments, but I will be here. I will continue to be a Shawneean and a resident and represent you.